Welcome to a journey through the life and legacy of one of history's most controversial and influential figures, Niccolò Machiavelli. Often called the father of modern political thought, Machiavelli's ideas about power, leadership, and human nature have shaped the way we understand politics for over 500 years. But who was Machiavelli, and how did his experiences in Renaissance Florence lead to his groundbreaking ideas? Let's find out. Niccolò Machiavelli was born on May 3, 1469, in Florence, Italy. At the time, Florence was a thriving republic, but it was also a city fraught with political instability. Wealthy families like the Medici vied for power, and the city was a battleground for larger conflicts involving France, Spain, and the Papal States. Florence's political climate wasn't just a backdrop to Machiavelli's life. It was a crucible that shaped his thinking. His family, though not wealthy, was well connected, giving him access to a classical education in Latin, rhetoric, and history. These studies laid the foundation for his later writings. In 1494, when Machiavelli was 25, Florence underwent a dramatic upheaval. The Medici family, who had ruled the city for decades, were expelled and Florence became a republic. For a time, the charismatic Dominican friar Savonarola wielded great influence, promoting moral reform and denouncing corruption. This period of instability deeply influenced Machiavelli's understanding of power and governance. By 1498, Florence's republic had stabilized somewhat, and Machiavelli entered public service as secretary to the Second Chancery of Florence. This role put him at the center of the city's diplomatic and military affairs. Over the next 14 years, Machiavelli became an expert in the often ruthless dynamics of power. During his diplomatic missions, Machiavelli negotiated with some of the most powerful figures of the time, including kings, popes, and generals. One of his most formative experiences was working closely with Cesare Borgia, the ambitious and ruthless son of Pope Alexander VI. Borgia's cunning use of strategy, manipulation, and force became a blueprint for Machiavelli's theories on leadership. At the same time, Machiavelli was instrumental in organizing Florence's militia. He believed citizen soldiers were more reliable and loyal than mercenaries, a theme he later explored in his book The Art of War. This experience solidified his belief in self-reliance as a cornerstone of political stability. Machiavelli's career came to an abrupt end in 1512, when the Medici, with the help of Spanish troops, returned to power in Florence. Loyal to the Republic, Machiavelli was seen as a threat to the new regime. He was arrested, tortured using the strappado, and eventually exiled to his family estate outside Florence. Stripped of his political career, Machiavelli turned to writing. Over the next several years, he channeled his insights into some of his most enduring works, including the Prince and The Discourses on Livy. These writings reflected his deep understanding of politics, history, and human nature, honed during his years in public service. The Prince, written in 1513, is perhaps Machiavelli's most famous and controversial work. Unlike traditional political philosophy, which emphasized morality and virtue, The Prince was unapologetically pragmatic. It offered rulers a stark guide on how to acquire and maintain power, even if it meant using deceit, manipulation, or violence. Machiavelli famously wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." He argued that politics was a game of survival, where the ends justified the means. These ideas shocked many of his contemporaries, who believed rulers should govern based on moral principles. The Prince was dedicated to Lorenzo de' Medici, the ruler of Florence at the time. Machiavelli hoped it would earn him favor and a return to public service. However, the Medici were unimpressed, and Machiavelli remained in exile. Interestingly, The Prince was not published during his lifetime, but circulated privately among his peers. It wasn't formally published until 1532, 5 years after his death. Though he remained in exile for most of his later years, Machiavelli continued to write. His works during this period included The Discourses on Livy, which explored the virtues of republican government, and the Florentine Histories, a detailed account of Florence's tumultuous past. He even ventured into drama, penning the satirical play The Mandrake. In the 1520s, Machiavelli briefly returned to public service under the Medici, but his influence never returned to its former height. He died on June 21, 1527, at the age of 58. Despite his relatively modest life, his ideas have had an outsized impact on history. Over the centuries, The Prince has become one of the most debated books in Western thought. Leaders like Napoleon Bonaparte and Thomas Hobbes were influenced by Machiavelli's insights, while the term Machiavellian has come to symbolize cunning and manipulative behavior. Yet his legacy is more nuanced. Machiavelli was one of the first to analyze politics as a science, separating it from morality. His understanding of power and human nature remains strikingly relevant today. Niccolò Machiavelli's life was a testament to the complexities of power, ambition, and survival. From his rise in Florentine politics to his exile and groundbreaking writings, his legacy continues to provoke thought and debate. He reminds us that politics is rarely simple and that leadership often demands difficult choices. Thanks for joining me on this journey through Machiavelli's life and ideas. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more historical deep dives. Until next time, stay curious.